My name is Jamie O'Connor, and I'm here to share a little bit about the family perspective of using the Charting the Life course trajectory tool. I am here today primarily as a mom to Nora and Charlie, and you'll learn a little bit more about them as I share about how we use the trajectory tool. But I'm also the outreach coordinator for Family Voices of Minnesota, and I'm a certified Charting the Life course ambassador. So I imagine you've already heard a little bit about the trajectory tool, but this is the tool that we're going to share about. Charting the Life course has a number of tools, and this one is a fantastic tool that really tries to get at the steps you can take to find your trajectory towards a good life. And often that's done by thinking about the things we want to avoid and the vision of what we don't want in our lives. At the core belief of Charting the Life course is that all people have the right to live, love, work, play, and pursue their life aspirations in their community. And that core belief brings me to this slide and just a reminder that any person and family-centered planning tool starts with this image that you see in the middle of this circle, the individual, and then around them, their family, and moves out from there. So it's really critical that any tool and any planning sessions we have are by families and with families, and never for families or about families. And I want to just quickly do an introduction of Family Voices of Minnesota because it brings us back to that family support piece. We are Family Voices of Minnesota and the Connected Parent-to-Parent Peer Support Program. We are the state affiliate organization for Parent-to-Parent USA and the state affiliate of Family Voices National. We provide information, assistance, and support to families to access needed services. We connect parents with one another and with veteran parents who have a child with similar needs or experiences. And we offer emotional support and understanding and acceptance so we don't have to feel alone. We also offer encouragement and education to support parents in speaking up for their children. So now I am going to share about how my family used the trajectory tool. This is just our personal story, but we think it's really impactful to hear the family perspective as you start to learn more and explore these tools. So you'll see on the screen a photograph, and that's me with my daughter Nora, who is just about to turn 11 years old. Nora was born with a rare genetic condition. And then that is my son Charlie, who just turned 9. We live in Minneapolis, but we're transplants from the southern East Coast, so Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. I'm a single parent, but we have a wide village of family and friends who are like family who support us. So our experience using the trajectory tool, I just wanted to set up that we start talking about the Charting the Life course trajectory tool to share our ideas about what is a good life. Nora and Charlie and I did this as a family. You can't look at this tool without realizing that you can't fill it out for someone. You always fill it out with someone or let them fill it out. And because of my children's ages, we started with the question of asking them what they imagine their good life will be. It's hard to think about the future at any age, but when you ask the question, what do you want? That's a lot harder to answer than what do you imagine? And then we really used that idea of what we don't want to get ideas flowing. Some people are super positive and don't need to think in that way. But we really needed to say, what don't we want in our lives before we could start to say what gets us to what we do want. And then we spent time talking about our past experiences and current experiences, to think about how they affect where we are and think about the future. There's a link on this slide because Charting the Life course tools are available at the Disability Hub, and I just wanted to make sure that the Disability Hub Minnesota, I wanted to make sure everyone was aware of that. So this is an image of my daughter Nora's trajectory, and you'll see that we just used a pen and paper to fill this out. That worked better for us than a computer. But there's all sorts of ways you can use these trajectories. And I've seen people cut out pictures as a way of sharing their vision. And I've seen people use a lot of very crafty scrapbooking skills when filling these out. And I've also seen people who simply wanted to type in the answers and have it be very list-like. So make sure you get creative. So in Nora's life trajectory, you'll see that we listed our past life experiences, her moves, and her move to Minnesota. She was born into a loving family, working hard, learning to read. There are some past life experiences that we talked about that pushed us towards things we don't want, like the COVID-19 pandemic, her mom and dad's divorce, low expectations, segregated classrooms. So that allowed us to talk about what future life experiences were important to her and what her vision of a good life was. And I feel like her vision of a good life isn't different from anyone who doesn't have a disability. She wants friends. She has specific interests around music, TV, eating ice cream. She wants to stay healthy, and so she wants to stay active in ways that are fun for her, swimming. And then on the list of things that she doesn't want to be told what to do. This is a big theme with my daughter. And so I get to learn that she very much wants to have a level of independence in her life and choice. She doesn't want to feel alone. She doesn't want to be without important resources like money, and she doesn't want to be a victim. You'll see that we put her photograph on here. And I think that when you're sharing something like this with a child's team, it really can help keep the focus to have a photograph like that, keep the focus on the individual. And then this is my son's trajectory. Again, we did this all together. You'll see language on here that isn't from my children because when Charlie was doing his trajectory, I had things I noticed about him, things that as his mother, I felt like were important. His sister had things that she noticed, but he was the ultimate guide about what went on his paper. So very similar in terms of experiences in the past. And you'll see a theme with Charlie that sports are very important to him, exercise, money. He has some of his specific now interests, so Hot Wheels and YouTube. Both of my kids identified animals as a big part of their lives. And then Charlie looked forward to moving back to somewhere that was a bit more warm. And again, so similar to Nora's, what he doesn't want, being alone, being without important resources, having health problems. So those are our specific examples. And this slide just talks about what came of our planning session together. I thought it was really interesting that the kids had a little bit of an increased buy-in after we did these trajectories. And I don't mean that to say that they don't fight chores or, do typical developmentally appropriate things, but we did have this shared language about good life and why they practice things and why they learn to participate in the household, why they work hard at school on things that are very difficult for them and that they might want to give up on. So that shared language about how our day-to-day actions influence our movements towards the life that we want. And then I really had a better understanding of my kids' visions for their lives. And it was a visual reminder for me, especially with my daughter, about her right to experience life. I think we very frequently think about protecting and keeping safe, and the need for, as family and parents, to let go some and let our kiddos experience the life that they want. And then beyond that, we have these awesome visual tools that I get to share with you today that I've been able to share with my daughter's school team as we talk about recouping some lost social and academic opportunities from the pandemic, and as she goes through a huge transition to middle school next year. I throw this slide in anytime that I'm talking about charting the life course because I think it's so important. Life experiences equal dignity of risk. We, again, talk so much about health and safety, which are important, but we have to balance life experiences and self-determination and the dignity of risk with that. And, you know, I think clearly if people are not having experiences and if they're overprotected, then they're going to have lowered abilities to move throughout their community and access the life experiences that they want. So what did the kids and I learn when we filled out this seemingly simple tool? That planning and big life conversations don't have an age group. I think at my kids' age, we forget to maybe look that long term, and we forget that they can look that long term at their entire lives. This is always a reminder to me to listen. It's pretty standard for me to get a form for my kids and fill it out for them or about them. And clearly we can't do that. They have to be involved in setting their own life priorities or the tools don't work. And then we learn to remember our big why. So that shared language, the value of bringing big picture thinking into our daily choices and activities. I think I was really surprised at how a planning tool could take something so big and actually really inform steps and activities in our day-to-day life. And then the sharing piece again. So to the extent that these are not too personal and we want to share them or scrub them of information that we don't want to share and put them in the hands of the important people in our lives, it can really, really improve outcomes. So thank you for letting me share our examples and our experience with the Charting the Life Course Trajectory tool. I'm excited for you on your journey exploring some of these and learning more. I hope things go well.